This is the Rosamund Blouse, loose, elegant and romantic. With voluminous sleeves and a timeless silhouette, it's a piece that feels both classic and modern. It's the blouse that whispers effortless, even if your sewing wasn't. Stick around and I'll walk you through how to make one. Start by preparing your fabric. Pre-wash it so it doesn't betray you later. Iron it flat, lay it out, and cut the pieces. Mark your notches. These are not suggestions. They're breadcrumbs to your sanity later. Apply interfacing to the cuffs and placket. Some finishes demand bias tape. You can buy it, or you can make it yourself. Let me show you how. Cut strips of fabric on the bias at a 45 degrees angle to the grain. This makes the tape flexible enough to curve around necklines and armholes without puckering. Join strips end to end with diagonal seams. And when you connect the ends, admire the clean join. Look at that, so beautiful. Trim the edges. Press them open. Fold the strip in half lengthwise, wrong sides together, press. Open it up, fold each raw edge toward the center, press again. Refold down the middle. Now you have bias tape. We start with the cuffs, because even sleeves need boundaries. Fold the cuff in half, right sides together, and stitch the short ends in a squared-off box. Trim the seam allowances, cut the corners sharp. Then turn it right side out. Press it flat until it looks precise. Top stitch along the outer edge, sides and top. The cuff is ready, structured, polished, waiting to control the chaos of the sleeve. On to the gathering. Gather along the front and back bodice where the yokes will join, and the same on the sleeve. Leave the threads long at the beginning and end for later adjustment. Want more details on gathering? Check out the link below for a step-by-step guide. Before you forget, finish the front and back hems with a baby hem. Use a rolled hem foot or a regular foot. Fold, press, stitch again. The point is, tiny hems, big satisfaction. Want more details on baby hem? Check out the link below for a step-by-step guide. The sleeve meets its yoke now. Match front to front, back to back. Don't swap them unless you want asymmetric regret. Sleeves are dramatic, too wide, too restless. So we rein them in with gathers, just enough to behave. Line them up with the yoke, match the notches like keeping promises. Adjust the sleeve gathers until they fit the yoke, then stitch. Stitch across carefully. Finish the seam, press upward. If you want it extra neat, give it a nice top stitch to hold it down, because sometimes closure helps. The drama is contained, for now. Join the gathered bodice pieces to their matching yokes, front to front, back to back. Adjust again until the lengths align. Try not to gather along the center front bodice, since that's where the placket will go. It'll be much easier to sew the placket later if you keep that part flat. Stitch, press and finish. It's patience disguised as progress. If you want it extra neat, top stitch it down because sometimes closure helps. Sew the shoulder seams, matching those little corners. Stitch, finish, press flat. Stitch the side seams from hem up to armhole. Backstitch at the ends, finish and press the seam. Necklines deserve a clean edge. Here's how to do it with your bias tape. Start by opening up one folded edge of your bias tape. Line it up with the neckline edge, placing right side of the tape against the inside of the bodice. Sew along the fold line, slightly pulling the tape around the neckline curve. Go slow here, don't pull or stretch the tape too much, or it'll spring back later. When you get close to where you started, stop and cut your threads. Join the two ends of the bias tape with a neat diagonal seam. Then lay it flat and finish stitching around the neckline. Next, fold the bias tape up and over the raw edge to the outside of the garment. Give it a good press so it lies smoothly. Finally, stitch close to the folded edge of the tape, making sure your stitches cover the seam line underneath. That way, everything is clean, secure, and beautifully finished. This is the dramatic part, the front opening. Take your placket strips and interface them for stability. Fold along the square markings and press. Place the placket piece right side against the wrong side of the front bodice. Match the center carefully. Sew all the way around the marked rectangle on the placket. Here's where you'll see me struggling, because I forgot to flatten the gathers first where the placket will be placed. Learn from my pain. Smooth out the gathers before attaching, or your gatherings will fight you. Cut inside that rectangle. Trim down the center of the opening, keeping about a 1 cm seam allowance between your cut line and the stitching. At the end, clip diagonally into each corner right up to the stitches. Pull the placket through to the outside of the bodice and press it flat. Fold under the raw edge of the first placket side. And stitch it down close to the fold until you reach the corner of the flipped rectangle. Fold and organize the other placket side so the edges are neat. Overlap both plackets evenly at the base. Trim the bottom edge neatly so the two plackets can overlap without bulk. Overlap them evenly at the base. Sew down the second placket. Then stitch across the bottom edge, and finally secure the base with a little box, for strength. This is where precision matters. If the plackets don't line up, your blouse will always be just slightly off, which is a vibe, but maybe not your vibe. Sew the sleeve side seam only up to the slit marking. Then press the seam allowance open flat. If you want to look extra polished, you can top stitch around the slit to tame the seam allowances. Run gathering stitches along the sleeve hem. Pull gently until it matches the cuff width. Sandwich the raw hem of the sleeve inside the cuff. Align everything as best you can. Fabric loves to misbehave here. Stitch carefully so that both the inside and outside of the cuff catch cleanly. No one wants a floppy cuff. Press, breathe, admire.
Good job.
With right sides together, pin sleeves to armholes, matching notches, front notch to front, back notch to back, shoulder seam and yoke seam aligned. Stitch carefully. Repeat for the other sleeve. Press the ease into shape. Don't flatten it, just mold it. Think of it less as ironing, more as persuasion. If you see any spots that look a bit wrinkly, just press carefully there until it smooths out. The goal is a nice rounded shape at the top of the sleeve without any puckers. And here she is, the Rosamund blouse. Loose, elegant, quietly romantic. Every gather, every seam, made by your hands, makes this piece uniquely yours. Rosamund isn't just a blouse, it's a moment stitched into fabric. Thanks for sewing along with me.